Kyoto, 1889. In a small wooden workshop, Fusajiro Yamauchi paints delicate Hanafuda cards by hand. It's a niche craft in a Japan where gambling laws limit card games. It's beautiful, but risky. Demand is low, yet this tiny step begins a company that will one day define video gaming itself. The 1920s bring change. Fusahiro's son-in-law Sakiryo Kaneda takes over, renaming the business Nintendo Playing Card Co. He gambles on making Western-style playing cards in a country still steeped in tradition. It's bold, and it works, opening new markets. The 1950s. Hiroshi Yamauchi becomes president at just 22 after his grandfather's retirement. The company is small, conservative. But Hiroshi doesn't want to sell cards forever. His first risk? A licensing deal with Disney to print cards with Mickey Mouse and friends. Sales explode, but it's only the beginning. Flush with success, Hiroshi decides Nintendo will no longer just be a card company. The 1960s become a whirlwind of experiments: instant rice, a taxi service, even love hotels. Most ventures flop. The young president's boldness almost sinks the company. Among these failures, one gamble works, hiring engineer Gunpei Yokoi. His invention, the Ultra Hand, a silly extendable toy arm, becomes a hit. It proves Nintendo can sell fun as much as function, leading Hiroshi to bet everything on toys and entertainment. 1970. Yokoi pushes another wild idea: electronic games. His light gun toys use photosensors to hit targets on screen. In a Japan just learning about color TV, it's revolutionary. Nintendo risks major capital building manufacturing lines for these new gadgets. Arcades boom in the late 1970s. Nintendo jumps in with coin-op machines. Most flop, until Donkey Kong arrives in 1981. It's a desperate pivot after a failed game called Radar Scope nearly bankrupts them. Shigeru Miyamoto's debut character, a little guy in red overalls, changes everything. The little guy? Jumpman, later Mario. Nintendo doubles down, building games around this plucky character. It's a risk. Too much reliance on one franchise can kill momentum. Instead, Mario becomes the company's golden ticket. 1983. The video game industry crashes in North America. Overproduction, bad games, and loss of consumer trust devastate Atari and others. Nintendo is ready to launch the family computer, the Famicom, in Japan. Taking it to America now feels like suicide, but they do it anyway. They disguise the Famicom as the Nintendo Entertainment System, bundle it with Super Mario Bros., and market it as a toy, not a console. It's a gamble to bypass the ruined video game reputation. It works. By 1987, NES rules the living room. Late 80s. Gunpei Yokoi dreams up a portable console, the Game Boy. Black and white graphics in a world moving toward color? Risky, but the battery life and Tetris partnership make it unstoppable. Nintendo dominates handheld gaming for decades. 1990. The Super Nintendo launches into a console war with Sega's Genesis. Sega taunts them with blast processing ads. Nintendo responds with bigger, more complex games. Investing heavily in first-party titles like Super Mario World and The Legend of Zelda. A Link to the Past pays off. Mid-1990s. CD-ROM technology is rising. Nintendo partners with Sony to make a CD-based console, then abruptly backs out. It's a monumental risk, one that leads Sony to create the PlayStation, a rival that will haunt Nintendo for decades. 1996. Nintendo releases the Nintendo 64 with expensive cartridges instead of cheaper CDs. Risk: limited storage and high production costs. But the decision ensures quality control and instant loading times, and gives the world Super Mario 64, a 3D revolution. Early 2000s. Nintendo's GameCube launches with strong hardware but struggles against the PlayStation 2. Their biggest risk? Doubling down on unique, colorful games while competitors push realistic graphics. Super Smash Bros. Melee and Metroid Prime keep loyal fans hooked. 2004. In an era dominated by sleek handhelds and mobile phones, Nintendo unveils the Nintendo DS, a chunky dual-screen device with a touchscreen. Critics laugh. 2 years later, it has over 100 million sales. Risk rewarded. 2006. Nintendo reveals the Wii. Motion controls? Weak specs compared to Xbox and PlayStation? Analysts predict disaster. Instead, the Wii becomes a cultural phenomenon, selling over 100 million units and bringing gaming to grandparents, toddlers, and everyone in between. 2006. Nintendo reveals the Wii. Motion controls? Weak specs compared to Xbox and PlayStation? Analysts predict disaster. Instead, the Wii becomes a cultural phenomenon, selling over 100 million units and bringing gaming to grandparents, toddlers, and everyone in between. 2017. Nintendo must recover. They merge console and handheld into one device, the Nintendo Switch. It's a gamble. Hybrid gaming had never worked before. Within a year, it's clear, Nintendo has struck gold again. The Switch becomes home to The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey, redefining open-world and platforming games. Risky investments in massive development teams pay off. 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic changes everything. Nintendo bets on Animal Crossing, New Horizons to connect people stuck at home. The game becomes a global comfort, selling over 40 million copies. Competitors push high-powered consoles in 2020. Nintendo decides not to chase specs, a risk in itself. They focus on unique experiences instead, leaning into nostalgia and innovation. 2021. The Switch OLED launches. It's not a pro upgrade fans expected. The gamble. Improve what works without fragmenting the market. Sales stay strong. Nintendo's partnership with Universal Studios to create Super Nintendo World is a huge, non-gaming risk. It pays off, bringing the brand into real-world theme parks. 2023. The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom launches. Nintendo risks delaying it multiple times to ensure perfection. The gamble works, critics call it a masterpiece. 2024. Rumors swirl about the next Switch. Nintendo keeps silent, risking consumer impatience. But the secrecy keeps hype alive. Throughout its history, Nintendo has risked not doing what competitors do. No VR headsets rush, no chasing photorealism, just focusing on fun. 1889 to 2025, the company has survived market crashes, failed consoles, and fierce rivals, all by daring to be different. Even in failure, like the Virtual Boy or Wii U, Nintendo learns. Each misstep fuels the next innovation. Their risks aren't just business moves, they're creative bets. Trusting game designers over market trends, giving quirky ideas like Splatoon a chance. In 2025, Nintendo stands as one of the most beloved brands in entertainment, proof that risk and playfulness can coexist. From handmade cards to handheld consoles, from arcades to open worlds, their journey is a testament to reinvention. Competitors may outgun them in power, but few can match the emotional connection Nintendo has built. Every leap, every gamble, carries the same heartbeat as Fusahiro's tiny workshop in 1889, making something fun. In the end, the biggest risk Nintendo ever took was being unapologetically Nintendo. And in a world chasing safe bets, that risk has been its greatest strength. As the next console looms, history says they'll surprise us again. Because for Nintendo, the game is never truly over, it's just the next level. Whether on a living room floor in 1985 or on a plane with a Switch in 2025, players share the same joy. And that joy is Nintendo's most valuable creation. The company's story isn't just about games, it's about the courage to play differently. To take chances when the world says no. To turn failures into icons. To make risk a part of the fun. And as long as there's another idea worth betting on, Nintendo will keep rolling the dice. Like, subscribe, and join us for more epic stories on History Unhidden.